It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Welcome to Book Club for Movies, everybody, for the week of... Oh, I didn't give the date on the last show. February 10th. I'm Ryan Miller, and Divine Presence to be shot. Matt Amber.
Thank you. Very kind of you. Are you going to shoot me?
This is Book Club for Movies, where typically we watch one movie a week, we have a discussion about it, and we invite you to participate as you would in a book club, but for movies. This week, we're not doing that, so I know there was one person out there that was like ready, just set.
Just stay at it going.
And I killed the momentum. This week, since we've been gone for 2 months?
Yeah, close to, yeah.
Close? Okay.
If not.
We didn't stop watching movies. We wrote them all down, the ones that we did watch, and we gave them to the other person and have tasked them with asking what they want to hear about. We will alternate in a volleyball-type fashion, as we do on this show sometimes. And then, at the end, we have one or two gimmies. If the other person has not chosen to speak about a movie we need to speak about, we will ruin the flow and do that.
Yes.
So, I think that's everything's happening. It's been 2 months, though. How you been?
Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. We,
okay.
There's snow on the ground. We seen some movies, but everything else is awful. How about you?
Good. Same, minus the snow. And apparently a lot less movies. I thought I was going to have you. In fact, I might if I had included the X-Men movies.
Because there are like 13 of them.
Yeah. We've not included some of the movies we've seen because we have plans for shows. If you did tune in for the Zero Hit Points show for the week, you may know that was the last-ish one of those.
Well, it's the last.
A goodbye of sorts.
It's definitely my last podcast that's that.
But that came with kind of an added, I don't know, I feel like the ideas are popping, or I've just never forgotten the ones we've talked about over the years. So we've got a number of things that we want to do with this thing now, with Book Club for Movies. One of them being a show about the X-Men movies. You had already made your way through over half of them, I think, or whatever.
Yeah. I've got the back half of...
Okay.
So I wrote down the two timelines. Like people like I not quote unquote, I wrote them down. I copied them from somebody who wrote them down.
Oh, okay.
I don't have that much time. So I'm halfway through both timelines basically.
And hearing you talk about them reminded me that my daughter hadn't seen them. So we blew through them in like 2 weeks, I think. Maybe.
Yeah, makes sense.
And I even went out and found / created an edit of Logan. So my daughter has seen Logan.
That's crazy.
Even at this point. So that's going to be an entire show, all of those movies. And I think it'll be fun. I had a real great time doing that. We also talked about doing a William Goldman show at some point. Did you know this?
I do remember that, yes.
It was your suggestion even. So that's on the list.
Keep going.
Also your suggestion, a Jim Carrey show, retrospective type thing.
Yeah.
In conjunction with Sonic, you said.
I may have been drunk. But I was watching Jim Carrey movies at the time, so.
It's okay. So I don't know how many of these are going to come to fruition and in what form. But you also talked about doing what I'm sure everybody else has done, a series of Star Wars shows. I think we were thinking a show per trilogy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
On your list this week is The Rise of Skywalker. Oh, shoot. That should be on my list too, right?
Yeah. We can talk about it for sure.
But I guess if we're doing that show, maybe we'll save that. Yeah.
I don't know. Do we need to?
I wouldn't.
I'll leave that into your camp.
The fact that somebody else has done it has never stopped the show in the past, and I've still had fun. So no, yeah, I would totally be down for a prequel show, an original trilogy show,
yeah,
and a newbie show.
No, I'm into it. All right.
Okay,
Cool.
So that's that.
It actually is great because it gives me a reason to rewatch this trilogy to see if anything changes for me.
Yeah, it gives you a reason to rewatch the prequels.
I always have a reason to rewatch those, and that reason is because they're excellent.
Okay, that's going to be an interesting show. The last thing you spoke of, in fact, very last, most recent, I think, was a Kevin Smith show.
That's actually the one that's out of everything right now. That's probably the one that I'm like most interested in doing.
Okay, so we might accept. I think there's a few Kevin Smith movies on your list as well. I won't ask about them.
I don't think I put any on there. Oh, I put one on there.
Just Mallrats.
Yeah, just Mallrats.
So those are in the hopper. Maybe those might pop out of the old bingo rolly ball at some point.
I love it. I love hoppers. I love hoppers.
In the future. That's a hopper, right? I always picture that as a hopper.
I don't actually know. I assume it's either the guy from Stranger Things or some kind of amphibian.
It is. And we'll do some more TVVBs. So we could very well talk about Hopper from Stranger Things.
That could happen.
I almost put my TV shows in this list.
Oh man, the current TV shows I'm watching are bananas.
Okay, yeah. So I figured that would still be. Who knows? Maybe. Do you want to do this same type of thing, the same catch up next week? Is that our show next week? The TVVB catch up?
Oh, sure. That would actually be good because I do have quite a bit of stuff that I would love to discuss.
All right. Yeah, I've got something that's... yeah, okay.
I seriously have like 4 new shows that are like, I'm totally just, digging. So
yeah. So, should we get this thing going?
Let's get rolling.
All right. Why don't you start since I did all that stuff?
All right.
You have my list. Should I enumerate my list here real quick?
If you did, I don't know. Do you want to?
Okay. Just so people know what you decided to choose.
Well, see now, hold on.
Okay.
No, maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we should just post a list on Twitter and
then
ask anybody else. Did you not? Did you?
Yeah, we'll do both. And if we leave anything out, you, the viewer, can request at any point, and we'll bring it back in, of course, as always. So my list is, the list you're choosing from is The Librarian, Quest for the Spear, the Fantastic Four 1 and 2. You know the ones I'm talking about, right?
Oh, yes, I know.
Spider-Man Far From Home, again. El Camino, Ghost Rider, The Death and Return of Superman animated. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but
yep, I haven't seen it yet. But
I did also watch the Max Landis YouTube video, though. If you've ever seen that,
I haven't watched it for probably since it came out. So
okay, if you want to pretend that's on the list, you can choose that.
No,
1917, Jojo Rabbit in the same week. Those two even
brutal.
Hail Caesar, which is what my quote was from, actually. If you got that. Lego Movie 2, The Big Sick, Ford v Ferrari, Room, Ad Astra, Darkest Hour, and Toy Story 4.
Yes, all right. Well,
what would you like to hear about my lips to your mouth?
Yeah.
Matt Amber.
I gotta start at the top here because I don't know what possessed you to have. I like Noah Wyle. Let's go ahead and throw this one on. What the hell happened with The Librarian Quest for the Spear? Was somebody reading the book?
Are you? What's a book?
There's like a whole series of books about the librarian.
No. Is it like a?
I've never read them. I'm just
kid fiction. What do they call that?
Young adult.
A young adult. Thank you.
I have no idea. I've never read them. I just know that there are multiple books.
Makes perfect sense. I don't know how I didn't know. You know, The Librarian, Quest for the Spear, and the movies that follow, which we'll speak about as I watch them, probably now that you've brought this up, are these made-for-TV monstrosities. Like, they're made right at the cusp of kind of CGI becoming even more, like, so cheap that it could show up in TV in a way that didn't look utterly horrible. It's in a complete in-between space, right? It's Noah Wyle. I like Noah Wyle. I don't know why. You
don't know Wiley?
I think he does a great job in this movie too. It's complete cookie cutter popcorn, made for TV family viewing, maybe at best is what I could say.
How did you come across this?
We watched them when they first came out. Me and my wife,
and you just
without
went,
children.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
This is the second time I've seen it.
Oh, Ryan, my goodness.
I don't. Okay, I was about to say I don't think it's bad. It's obviously bad, but watchable? I don't know. It's one of those things. I probably cannot justify it.
Once again, you're talking to a person who likes Batman versus Superman. So,
do we end the show right now?
Might as well.
You wait till the end. Like everything's shot from here on out. Now.
I also enjoy Suicide Squad.
Oh, come on. That was uncalled for. That was not appropriate. This is a venerated... I have no defense. I can't even talk.
Look, you can say all you want about Suicide Squad as long as before you say Suicide Squad, you say Academy Award winning Suicide Squad.
I did. I pulled that on you too. Is Birds of Prey on your list? I haven't relooked at it.
Sure is.
It should be, right? Okay. I was going to ask you about that anyway. So that's all I got for the librarian. So hey, why don't you Birds of Prey?
All right.
Since we've naturally segued from the librarian.
Would you like me to enumerate my list first?
Oh yes, sure.
Excellent. Okay, here's my list enumerated. Black Christmas, actually the new one and the old one, there's a mid one.
I didn't know that was a remake.
Yeah, there's 3 of them actually. There's the original one, there's a mid one that was not great, and then there's this one that's a newer one. So I watched the oldest one and the newest one. Little Women, Color Out of Space, Birds of Prey, Joker, Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, Batman and Robin, Mallrats, Southland Tales, 300, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 and 2, The Secret of the Ooze, and 3, Back in Time. It's so good. Barbarella, Meet the Feebles, Dread, Sin City, A Dame to Kill For, Good Will Hunting, Friday, Ready or Not, Brawl in Cell Block 99, The Hateful Eight, The Talented Mr. Ripley, A Boy and His Dog, Warren Ellis, Captured by Ghosts, Overlord, Cabin Fever, and Jingle All the Way.
That's again, you not only beat me in length, you beat me in just everything with that list. But yeah, let's Birds of Prey. I am actually curious because Suicide Squad obviously is a blight on humanity.
Okay, so Birds of Prey. The first thing that I think everybody noticed, that everybody called out, was that it's Harley Quinn. That she's all over the advert. She's everywhere in the thing. It's Harley Quinn. The Birds of Prey.
Talking about I was going to say for Suicide Squad, she might have been the redeeming.
Oh, she was the best part of Suicide Squad.
She was the embodiment.
Her and Captain Boomerang. I can never believe that I think Jai Courtney did something good, but he did.
Oh, you're serious? Gosh, this is going to be such a hard conversation.
Yeah, he's my favorite character in the movie. I like him. He is easily the most fun character. And the fact that he was likable enough that James Gunn is using him in his Suicide Squad says something. I don't know what it says, but it says something.
Huh.
John Cena is also in that, but I can't see him, so I'm not sure what he's playing. So
I get that.
Birds of Prey and the fantabulous emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Again, the adverts, every poster, she was up and in front. The movie itself, to my knowledge and memory, actually started off as a Birds of Prey movie. No Harley Quinn, but it was having problems getting off the ground, and Margot Robbie has the sway. She, you can say a lot of things about Margot Robbie in terms of her acting and anything else.
Like she's a good actor or not?
Whatever, say whatever you want. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not.
I have no problem.
I am not.
Seems good.
I'm not limiting you.
Okay.
But I will limit people who say that she does not have a true love for this character. I think she is really, like, she took it on, and you can see it in this movie. And the disappointing thing is that it's just not making the money it needs to. It's such a bummer because the movie is
is it not doing
significantly better, leaps and bounds better than Suicide Squad. It's better than
what?
Yeah. Look, I have said that I told you this. It's in my top 3 of the DC movies. Like, it's
Birds of Prey is.
Yeah, it's that good. It's that much fun, man. It's but the thing that this movie is that they don't do a terrific job of getting across in the like the previews and stuff, is that the movie isn't so much about the birds of prey. It's called the Birds of Prey but it's really more about like the emancipation word is actually key in this movie because every character is looking for some form of emancipation, all of them. And it's a huge thing that's what brings the Birds of Prey together. And so you don't get a whole lot of the movie where they're all together. You get bits and clumps and pieces of people, with Harley being the main focus. And the movie really, to me, that served the movie really well because at the and spoiler alert, okay? I'm going to give you this spoiler because you know that Harley is not going to die at the end of the movie. You know she's not.
I do know that.
Here's your spoiler. I'm giving you the time to take, if you don't want to hear, it's the very last line said in the movie is Harley looking at the camera and saying, they call themselves the Birds of Prey. I think they've got another story to tell on their own. Something to that effect where she's like, I don't need to be involved in the next thing. It's an introduction movie in every respect that it's an origin story for the Birds of Prey. The next movie doesn't need Harley because now they've established these characters. And it's great. Like, I really like them. Huntress, by far. I mean, yes, I have an absolute crush on Mary Elizabeth Winstead, like every other human man that is interested in women. Easily, though.
The star of Gemini Man.
Correct.
Yeah,
easily the standout of the movie. She was fantastic. That character is great. Her play on it was fantastic. Everybody else in the movie was real fun. I know people whinged about Cassandra Cassie, but she was fine, and the movie's fine. They're just whinging about she's not like the comic book. Yeah, it's a real life movie. The real surprise here, though, for me was man, Ewan McGregor was so good. He is just chewing scenery. That whole movie is just like, that is peak Ewan McGregor, and his whole arc is just fantastic. And maybe my favorite thing about this movie is the fact that it's a hard R. There's some gore in there that I was just not expecting.
Oh, gore, really?
Yeah. Huh. There's some Deadpool style stuff in there where there's a little bit of I did not expect all that blood and that to come off that person's body. Interesting. I really enjoyed it. It's got its issues. It's not perfect by any means, but it's super fun. It looks great. I think everybody had fun. Like, you can see the people in the movie were having fun. It does lull a bit in the middle. I don't think it drags, but I think it's got a lull.
Okay.
But that third act just ramps and is perfect. Third act just kills. Good flick, man. I liked it. If you liked
Pina coladas
and getting lost in the rain, you might like Birds of Prey.
Fair.
But I think honestly with Birds of Prey, if you like those characters and you're okay with the DC movies and like checking something out that isn't Shazam, which is Aquaman, which are kind of the better of, and Wonder Woman is probably the best of all of them, really. But this is a good one, man. This one, I think they turned. This is a good corner, man. I think the last few movies, I think Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Shazam, and this, I think they're all solid popcorn flicks that are worthy of being considered good quality, fun comic book movies.
And you said it was a top 3, so you're talking, or number 3.
Yeah.
So above that would be
Shazam
and Wonder Woman?
I'd actually put Man of Steel on top. Like, when I really
of Steel? What?
When I
was thinking it was Wonder Woman or Justice
No,
League.
it's Wonder Woman. Come on, man.
Oh, okay, sorry. You had me going.
No, well, yeah, Wonder Woman is easily I think my favorite of that group so far.
Cool. All right.
Okay.
What, pray tell?
Yeah.
would you like to hear from me?
I am actually super interested in hearing about Room, because I have only ever heard the most minute amount about it, and that there's like Brie Larson's coming out party.
Yeah, I guess maybe it is the thing that kind of put her on the map. Is that how it goes?
That's the first thing I remember her from, like, in terms of hearing her name.
So Room is a movie about not what you think it is about. It's
I don't know what it's about.
Okay.
The thing is, like,
you're wrong.
My understanding is that there is a room involved.
There is a room involved, and Brie Larson has been. Watch The Thing. It's really great in the turns that it takes, in the things that it doesn't expressly communicate that you kind of have to figure out. And I'm going to ruin a lot of that by talking about it. Good. Essentially. She was kidnapped when she was 17, put into a room, and I want to say it's like 10 years later, 8 years, something like that. It's a long time later. Repeatedly taken advantage of, to the point where she has a kid with this guy now, and the kid lives down there with her. And you think that's what the story is about, and it's not. Like, they escape that situation halfway through the movie, and then you realize that, like, there is some mention about him and his trial or something like that, but it's tossed off.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
because
it's almost a nicety for the viewer, like, because they're going to ask, but it's just not about that. It becomes about that kid and his experience. Like, there are moments where Brie Larson is not even there. Like, she doesn't exist when she's not in the room or in the same space as the kid. And once you realize that, you begin to see a movie that's both from the point of view of a child and about a child in a way that I don't think I've ever seen before.
Yeah, no, that's interesting because, like, I'd never really, like, I didn't think about that. And then you consider, like, that kid's only known that one room, right? Like, he didn't get to roam around a house. He got that room. Yeah.
And that's the world to him. Like, his mom has told him certain lies to kind of safeguard him. And when we come into the movie, it's when she's starting to drop some of that. Like, she's starting to explain, no, there actually is a world outside. Like, the room isn't the world. The room is within the world, and tries to explain what the larger world is. And he doesn't understand. Sometimes he gets angry or throws a tantrum because of what she's saying, but then slowly begins to accept, and then is instrumental in their escape in just a incredibly tense scene. But when they begin to dive into the psyches, and it's not so deep or wordy that sounds more intimidating than I wanted to, but
you're describing it well. What you're saying makes all the sense in the world right now.
It's just that they then portray this person kidnapped when she was a child, had a child when she was a child, and both of them are arrested in their development. I can never say that without thinking of the TV show.
They blew themselves.
No, they have a mess on their hands. And they do. They have a great mess on their hands, but it's wonderfully treated. I should know the guy who made it. Again, I'm tearing through these movies left and right to the point where I should know more about them. Like, I have a long list of Wikipedia entries that I need to get to, since I like to accompany my movies with that. But it's a great movie. It's a flat-out great movie.
I'll have to check it out. Yeah, I never really knew anything about it. I think she won an Oscar for it too, didn't she?
Oh, right. Yeah,
she got nominated for it, I think.
Sure. And honestly, this is my inside Llewyn Davis, right? Like, I see Oscar Isaac in Star Wars, and I'm like, yeah, he's cool. I like him. And then I see inside Llewyn Davis, and I say, oh,
that's
he's
Oscar.
Amazing.
Yeah, he's a real good actor, that guy.
Like, I've seen Brie Larson in a few things, and I like her. I think she's good. I liked Captain Marvel quite a bit, but didn't really connect. Like, I haven't seen a tour de force. Yeah, she nails it. She does. This is sure.
And she won the Academy Award for it. Yeah, it came out in 2015, directed by Lenny Abramson.
Actually sounds familiar too.
Yeah, he's a guy that's probably made a movie. He made Frank. Oh, that's a good one.
I don't know it.
Frank. No. Frank is a Michael Fassbender is he's in a band with Domhnall Gleeson, and there's a couple of other people in it that you totally recognize. But he only wears this big, like, paper mache mask.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And
I saw the trailer for that.
Freaking great. That movie is real good. That movie is really good.
Okay.
Same guy.
That's what I got for Room.
Cool.
I feel like we should probably keep moving.
Let's go.
Done 2 movies so far? 3?
Sure, I can go quick on everything else.
Oh, that's right. I'm choosing yours.
You
I
are.
remember how this works.
Okay.
I do. I remember. Referring to the list here again. I want to hear about Color Out of Space.
Color Out of Space, H.P. Lovecraft adaptation, directed by the guy who made the movie Hardware, which is a cool movie. Richard Stanley. The movie actually, by the way, this is kind of half unrelated, but is tangentially. Yeah, the movie, this was put out by Spectravision, which is Elijah Wood's thing, and they're the ones who put out. They put out things like Mandy, and they put all these very.
I knew it was from the Mandy people. I didn't know Elijah Wood was attached.
Yeah.
In the least surprising revelation ever.
100%. So they like the movie so much that they already gave him a go-ahead for another Lovecraft film, and they want to build their own little Lovecraft universe thing. So he's going to do the Dunwich.
The LCU.
It would be, yep, exactly. I mean, it would actually be Miskatonic U. But he's going to get to do Dunwich Horror, which is going to be awesome. Color Out of Space.
Is this straight up a Lovecraft novel adaptation or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the title of the Lovecraft book is Color Out of Space.
Yeah, it's a story. Yeah, it's a short story.
Okay.
All of his stories are he only wrote short stories, but and obviously the movie stars Nick Cage. He's
obviously.
Obviously. I mean, it has to. The whole story, the premise of the movie is actually it's a very similar kind of premise to this Creep Show. Stephen King kind of aped it for Creep Show with the lonesome death of Jordy Verrill. So essentially a rock lands on this guy's property, and it starts glowing, and it has a weird color, and people look at it, kind of start getting a little funky and a little weird, and time starts changing maybe a little bit, and this is a movie that the less you know about it going into it, the better it's going to come off, because it's a unique vision of a film. It's kind of like The Endless. It's kind of like Primer. It's kind of like those movies where it's not time necessarily. That's not what I'm getting at, but it's more of a you can't. Trying to explain The Endless to somebody is kind of hard.
Dumb. Yeah.
It's kind of difficult, right? It's not the easiest movie to get across what it is. It's a cosmic horror thing, and that's what this is. It's cosmic horror.
Is there, because Primer and Endless do have solutions?
Sure.
Watching the trailer for Color Out of Space, like I feel like there's a 50-50 that movie ends and there's no real answer, I guess.
Well, I mean, the answer is most definite at the beginning. There's no ambiguity here. It's an alien. It's a something from space. It literally is a color. It's a rock. It's a meteorite. It doesn't matter. I mean, you're never going to know what it is, but you also don't need to know. You just know that there's that rock is messing things up.
It sounds like I just watched that stinking video. Now I can't remember the name he came up for a non-MacGuffin because it sounds integral to the story. Plot token, something like that. Did you watch that video I sent you?
I haven't. It's on I actually have it listed up here.
Well, that's my try at popularizing the term. That's not there's a video out there. It's Nando V Movies, I guess, is the name of the channel. But he does a thing on what a MacGuffin is and how it's been incorrectly co-opted, and he gives an alternate term for, I believe, what you're talking about. But I haven't seen the movie, so in any event, boy. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just a hard movie to explain because it's like.
I wouldn't want you to either because I want to watch that thing. That trailer is wild.
Yeah, I guess the easiest thing that you could get across with this is, what if madness were made solid, but infectious?
Good or bad?
The movie itself or the concept? Because terrifying concept.
No, just humanity.
No,
no, that's too easy an answer.
I really liked the movie a lot. You could say I love the movie. I thought it was great. Beth didn't like it as much as Mandy. She thought Mandy was a better movie. I think Mandy's a better movie too. But she disliked it. I wouldn't say she disliked it, but she definitely, there's a pretty big gap between this and Mandy for her, I think.
Okay.
But overall it's really good. You don't get a huge like a major Nick Cage goes crazy moment, but you get a little bit.
Okay. You were satisfied by the end of the film.
I really liked it. No, I really liked it.
Okay.
I am super excited to see what Richard Stanley does with Dunwich Horror.
Okay. What would you like to hear about next, sir?
I would love to hear more about your viewing of one of just the most delightfully entertaining Coen Brothers movies in recent history. Tell me how you felt and what you thought about Hail Caesar.
Hail Caesar. So, you would choose the Coen Brothers movie. Yeah, I'll just talk about this in 5 minutes.
Remember how we were like, oh yeah, most of these are only going to have like 1 or 2 sentences.
Well, I do only have like 3 notes on the movie, but
well, we don't have to. We don't have
one
to.
viewing of a Coen Brothers movie is never enough.
No, of course not.
Even then, there are so many things you can talk about. I'm sure you've heard me say this before on the show, or in just passing me on the street. I believe the Coen Brothers to be one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. Period.
Filmmaker, sure.
We did a show on Buster Scruggs, right? I guess.
Yeah.
So if you want to hear us talk about a bunch of that, go to that. But Hail Caesar is not the best Coen Brothers movie I've seen. One of the best movies still that I've ever seen? Sure, probably.
Right.
But
I think I broke you.
The movie is such a quick watch, and I don't know why.
And it's not short either. I feel like it's 2 hours long.
And there's it's commenting on communism. It's commenting on the business of making movies. It's commenting on Josh Brolin's character is just fantastic, period. And it's doing so much, and yet I couldn't maybe point to a cohesive whole like I can with some other films like Inside Llewyn Davis. Oh, we did also. So that was another one we did.
Yeah.
But Hail Caesar is still a bunch of fun. And at the end of the day, the Coen brothers at this point in their career, well, guess what? It probably still means something. But also, if they want to spend 15 minutes introducing Channing Tatum through a musical directed by Christopher Lambert, sorry, they could do that.
Yeah.
And that might need to be all the reason there is type thing. I'm sure there's more to it than that, but sometimes it doesn't matter because it's the Coen brothers. And you just love every minute of it. Just, there are so many things I could talk about with that film. Hail Caesar, a movie that probably didn't get near the press or praise that any of their movies did, and is still a ton of fun. You know, I'm biased beyond compare, so
one of the things
and all that. But
now I'm curious if my memory holds up for this, because one of the things that I remember being really, really like struck by in terms of visuals was the costuming and set design, like the straight up Hollywood sets and like them walking around and what they were wearing, just like knocked it out of the park. It
fantastic.
Just, yeah, like it felt out of this world while being completely also like it felt very literal too. It was weird. I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah. How do you nail that down? How do you make a perfect microcosm of, it's a movie about making movies right. In a way, like, and it looks perfect. You're just, George Clooney is in his perfect space there playing that character, just the complete buffoon. I feel like he's done characters like that before, and he's perfect at it.
No, he's great. Clooney's one of those guys that, I don't know, man. You try real hard not to like him, but it's so hard not to like him.
And the plot, he gets kidnapped. I mean, on its face, the plot, he gets kidnapped by some communists who then hold him hostage. But while he's there, he has this Stockholm thing going on where he really kind of, I guess, falls in love with communism, but in a way that a buffoon actor from the 50s would. Like, he doesn't really know and will probably toss it off 5 minutes down the road. Right. But it just provides so many good scenes, and there's a lot of good just moments and scenes. Like, there's a conversation with Josh Brolin's character and this cadre of religious leaders. Like, there's a rabbi and a Christian, and oh, it's fantastic. It's such a good moment. Yeah, so it's worth watching.
That's funny. Hit me with your best shot, Pat Benatar.
And I am just going to keep moving down the list. There's probably a better way to do this, but I can't not pass up an opportunity to, and we may have done this before at some point on the show already.
I hope so.
But talk for a few minutes on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles of the 80s and 90s. I believe the third one did press into the 90s.
Yeah, it was 92.
Yeah. Maybe even the second.
I think the second one's actually, maybe the second one is 90 something. The second one's
and
still
you did
my favorite.
Watch the third one though, right?
I
It's
did.
not on your list,
I didn't
but-
put it on
okay.
the list. Yeah.
Okay. Why would you not put that one on the list since you like it so
I
much?
did. It's so bad. It's so hilariously like. At least they got Corey Feldman back because they didn't have him for the second one.
It's been a while since I've seen the third one, but
It's definitely like so.
it's defendable. It's just so patently like sequely. Like the
third-
Secret
okay.
of the Ooze is stands on its own. Period.
Well, yeah, Ice
to bottom.
Cube, or I mean Ice T. Although Ice Cube would have been better.
Both just great.
So the thing with Back in Time, I think that I like the most is that it's closer to like the cartoon. It's like the other movies never were.
It's what makes the first two movies so good, though. Those two movies are so much better than they have any right to be. Like legitimately good movies about turtles in rubber suits. Well, okay, about real turtles, but they're played by men in rubber suits.
They were, and that was the cool thing was that they were people in suits. Like, and yet
That they went that route, right?
I know, and I will universally I guarantee you, no matter I could love the new Turtles movies, I still will think those turtles look better because I'd rather
yes.
I prefer that tactile look. I prefer the practical effects. You know, and what I think is interesting with the movies is that the first movie is so much closer in tone to the comics than the cartoons, but it was capitalizing on the popularity of the cartoons that the comics never and still do not even come remotely close to having.
I mean, there's been so much. I'm sure that's true.
The comics
they've done. Have you even heard of that TMNT movie where they go back and it's like it's basically Into the Spider-Verse for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and they meet the Eastman and Laird. Okay.
No, all I'm saying is that in terms of the the cartoons were capitalized on something that did they were not capitalizing on the popularity of a comic book, especially when you consider that Eastman Laird's comic was nothing like the cartoon.
It's adult.
You know,
adult,
they childized that, they infantilized that comic book in a great way. Like I still have great memories of that, but that first movie definitely holds on to some of that cartoon humor, but it really, really is closer to the Eastman Laird look, feel, tone. Sure. It's a darker movie. It's grimy almost all the time. It's wet all the time. Sam Rockwell is in it. How do you go wrong?
So is.
And you know, I mean, the biggest whinge you can make about any of these movies is, and it's one of the things that if I remember correctly, Eastman and or Laird, the biggest problem was that the choreography is good. The fight scenes are fine, but because it's a kids movie, you don't get the actual, the turtles actually killing people, which there's a point where, come on, dude, you got a guy with a sword and he's not doing anything with it.
Very true.
is legitimately that's
slapping people with the broadside.
That's what he's doing. He's he hits them, and most of the time he doesn't even use them. He leaves them. They fight hand to hand. It's like Raph pulls out his sais. They get lost. They get knocked out of his hands. He blocks somebody, and that's it. You know, and I realize those are defensive weapons, but still. Yeah, that first movie though is actually real solid. That's a real good that's just a good movie. It knows what it is. I think. I don't think it's trying to be anything outside of that. And I think that going with the second one, where they actually did the second one is my favorite because it's the midpoint between the really the darker, harder Ninja Turtles of the first one and the complete cartoon of the third one. This hits that middle part because there's just so much fun to be had in that movie. It's
a little goofier than the first.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You get the goofy backstory with the ooze, and you get Ernie Reyes Jr. not being one of the three ninjas, being one of the Ninja Turtles. You've
I
got
just downloaded 3 Ninjas.
I love 3 Ninjas, man.
watch it
The
yet.
Game Gear game was awful. I was so mad about that too. Like I was so mad that it didn't work like the movie. As in,
Is that
it
your
didn't,
first game review?
Yeah, it didn't work like the movie. As in,
not hold up.
yeah, couldn't do things like in real life. But that second movie is so much more fun. It's so goofy. You get the Toka and Razor, which took over for Bebop and Rocksteady. You get the
Which was jarring at the time, I remember.
oh yeah, it was
But-
very annoying.
But you accepted them.
You did,
and
yeah,
came to love
because
them.
they were fun. They were cool. And then you get Super Shredder at the end, which was also pretty fun.
For like a minute, right?
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, that guy, the Super Shredder, was played by Kevin Nash, who was a former
really?
wrestler.
I was to say, isn't he a wrestler? Yeah, I
Yeah,
recognize the
super
name.
humongous guy, and yeah, really funny dude. Yeah, that's a cool one. 3 is like in every respect, yeah, they go back in time. It's real dumb, but
It's real different.
but if you
than the
if you like the second one, then I think you kind of like to a point. You're just like, I accept the third one. It is.
I do accept the third one. You're
Yeah,
right.
you don't dislike it. You're just like, oh,
You already mentioned the kind of the weapons in the first movie. Did you notice the change in the second movie? I never noticed this till I read it. They don't use
they
weapons
don't use
at
the
all in
weapons
the
ever.
second movie.
I
Yeah.
think Michelangelo pulls out the nunchucks once
Does he?
towards the
Or-
beginning, and I think, but he doesn't hit anybody with them. I think he
No,
pulls
that
them
was
out, and
a producer's note or something, and they wanted it to be even more kid friendly.
It's so stupid. But the movie is still as fun, and Vanilla
still
Ice. So
Excellent.
yeah.
I wish I had watched some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies for you to choose from, but you're gonna have to choose from what they're. Sorry, just now it's your turn.
Yeah, Fantastic
Or
Fours.
my turn. Fantastic Four. Okay.
I got like there are so many other movies on your list that I'm really interested in, but this one just bugs me.
The Fantastic Four movies. In fact, I'll throw one in. I'll throw an unsolicited comparison in here because I watched Spider-Man: Far From Home for the second time, close to watching these two. My daughter had never seen them before, so that's kind of where this came from again. But I like the Fantastic Four movies better than Spider-Man Far From
Wow.
Spider-Man: Far From Home.
Wow.
And I would have words on Spider-Man: Far From Home again to follow up, but those Fantastic Four movies are fine to actually good movies. I get where the criticism might come from, and it's such a before Marvel Studios time,
Yes.
but they're just fun, man. Every single one of the actors inhabits their character just like I would want them to. They play off each other really well.
You could not at the
I
time
just don't
have
have
found
any problems with them.
You just could not have found a better thing than Michael Chiklis at the time.
Right?
Like he was just, yeah, he's great.
Chris Evans totally nails the Human Torch too.
Absolutely.
Johnny Blaze? No, that's Ghost Rider. Johnny
Johnny
is it
Flame.
Johnny Flame?
Johnny
What?
Storm.
Johnny Storm. Sue Storm. His sister.
Yeah.
Jessica Alba. Also very good. They're just good. I like those movies. I don't have many notes beyond that, but thought they were worth a shout out.
I can tell you the two biggest reasons that are issues for me with the movies. I agree, they're fun. They're super goofy. But my biggest problem with both of those movies is that they still make Doctor Doom out to be almost incompetent. And at the end of when you get into the Marvel universe,
True.
he is one of the
Compared to him in the
smartest,
comics,
strongest, brilliant minds ever. And then of course the sequel, I don't know how. I mean, I get the
Galactus.
How do you make Galactus?
Yeah.
How do you make Galactus? Because if
Isn't he just a cloud?
yeah, he's just.
I don't understand.
That was I don't know. I get why they wanted, because it's all about bringing the Surfer. That was the whole purpose. Was you got to get the Surfer because he's a huge part of it. But man, I
love him. I freaking love the Silver Surfer in that movie.
I get the difficulty in making a decision about how you're going to do Galactus, but that wasn't the right way to do it.
No. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about the two. In fact, I never thought about the Doom thing, but you're totally right. Like he's a in the story, he is a scientist,
Which is
of Reed Richards' caliber.
Yeah.
But he's also a petulant CEO that
Right.
Yeah. you're
Whereas
right. It doesn't do Doom justice for sure.
no, I mean in the comics he's certainly more megalomaniacal.
Megan Fox.
Megan Fox Mockle. Michael J. Fox.
I don't keep thinking.
But I actually think that that's how they're going to do. They're going to have to build up the MCU for the next phase. He is probably the best villain outside of Thanos to do because
Been some rumblings. Yeah.
because he's the one that makes the most sense. He has access to every character that's a bad guy. Like Doctor Doom is one of the best characters, and he should be.
And I'd be into it, dude. Like, like the Fantastic Four. I don't even care about whatever that reboot was. Like that was fantastically bad.
I love this that somebody specifically came out and was asked, "Hey, would you be interested in doing a Marvel movie?" And he said, "Oh, absolutely. It sounds like a ton of fun, and I would kill to play Mr. Fantastic." Freaking John Krasinski, and I'd give it to me. I'm into it. I dig John Krasinski as Mr. He's not my number one choice. I think he would be a good Mr. Fantastic. I do.
I am still so undecided on John Krasinski.
I like the guy. I hate to say it.
I like him.
I don't hate to say it. I like
But
him.
I just rewatched A Quiet Place, actually, which isn't on this list either. But I'm still undecided on that
That's
guy.
fair.
Stay tuned. Will we decide on John Krasinski during this season of Book Club for Movies? I hope so.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Would you please now tell me about...
circle back on Krasinski?
I'm going to choose one I've never heard of in my life so that you can tell me about it, and maybe I'll regret my decision.
Is it Meet the Feebles?
It is. What is the Feebles? What is Meet the Feebles?
Meet the Feebles. This is a flick that I actually hadn't seen 20 plus years maybe. Beth had only ever heard of it. She'd never seen it. Peter Jackson. This is a Peter Jackson movie.
No joke.
The movie is all puppets. It's all like, and it's not puppets even. It's like they're Muppets. So they're Muppets, but it's
like literally like Jim Henson is on.
They're
the
not
credits?
Jim Henson's Muppets, but they're like that.
Well, then
they're
get the freak out.
Yeah, sorry. They're Jumpets.
Muppets. Yeah.
They're Muppets. The movie is about all these Muppets and Meet the Feebles. The Feebles are a TV show, but there's all this nasty, ugly backstage stuff happening. There's a whole bunch of blood in the movie where the Muppets get like parts cut off and they explode and things.
But the world, it's Muppet World. It's not like
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
you're not like seeing the puppeteers and it's
no.
Gotcha.
No, this is strictly like it is. There was that movie that came out a few years ago with Melissa McCarthy, and it was like it was that.
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, it's not that. It's just like take Melissa McCarthy and all humans out and then put them violent. like and it's a little more like it's Peter Jackson, early Peter Jackson too. So
I was gonna say this is like Frighteners Peter Jackson.
Right?
This
is pre that. Frighteners.
No, I know,
Jackson's
but it's like the Frighteners is nothing like what he did after, right? Like,
No, this
when he still had a sense of humor type Peter Jackson.
This falls This falls along the lines of he did. If my timeline is right, he did Bad Taste, which is available on Amazon Prime. If I think we just watched it actually there.
Okay.
Then he did Dead Alive, or Brain Dead as it was called, like everywhere else, and then Meet the Feebles. This movie is so weird. It's just real bizarre. Finding a copy of it is remarkably difficult, and because it hasn't ever been re-released, so the copies that exist are basically VHS. They're bad, but I
would imagine Peter Jackson's active in quashing that.
Well, at one point, he no. At one point, he actually there was a discussion where he said, "I'd like to go back and remaster all of them, including like he wanted to remaster Bad Taste and Dead Alive, and like do it."
Some would argue he already has remastered Bad Taste.
Oh, you got Peter Jackson.
I like his movies.
It's super fun though. If you can get if you get a chance to see it, I highly recommend it. It's an adult thing, but again, it's all Muppets,
so it's kids.
yeah. Definitely have your kids watch it. It'll be great.
Yeah. Well, I was not disappointed by that question. Then, will you be disappointed by yours?
Maybe. I am really curious about this because I keep reading about it and I've read Vince Gilligan's stuff about it. So tell me about El Camino.
El Camino, or as I retitled it, incorrectly because I didn't know the full name. El Camino: The Emancipation of One Jesse Pinkman. That's what it is, essentially.
Oh, it's Birds of Prey. Cool.
There's some praying, I would say. It takes place right after the end of Breaking Bad, and it's essentially what you never needed to know about what happened to Jesse Pinkman after that. Not to say that it's a bad movie, and it's Vince Gilligan in top form. Like there's a lot of familiar filmmaking in there that you will enjoy, especially if you haven't been keeping up with Better Call Saul. But you do get to see kind of a different side of him. You know, I feel like he did understand that this was a movie and not a TV show or an episode. And so he gets to toy around with some of that. He gets to let things breathe a little bit more than I feel like he does typically, which is saying something because, you know, he'll do an entire episode on a fly type thing, you know? I don't know if that's beyond your Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I have to go back and rewatch from the beginning because I just never got through. Like I always, again, I think as far as we got maybe to the third season, but then we just stopped watching it for no reason. And
I feel like if you would have seen that episode, you would know what I'm talking about anyways. But
yeah, probably. It sounds really unique.
It's a movie about Jesse Pinkman. They do change him. They change that character a little bit. They try to dip into some PTSD and all that, which is fine. And I think it's acted really well. There are a few moments where the Jesse Pinkman you know comes out, and those are kind of the most fun moments. I kind of wish the entire movie was more of that. But I can't imagine you are disappointed by this movie going into it. Like, it's a Breaking Bad movie, and it's good, and you get to know more about that. It's just maybe you didn't need to. Like, it doesn't really add anything to the story. It only adds to Jesse Pinkman as a character.
So what you're saying is it's Solo.
It's better than Solo.
Fair enough. And you said this is after Breaking Bad, which means
like directly after the last
okay,
episode.
So Walter White's dead and
yep.
Kristen Ritter's been dead for like 18 seasons.
Yes, but it does the greatest hits thing where there are scenes with all of those characters.
Oh, really? So they actually got Cranston to come back, huh?
Yes, and there's a whole bunch of Jesse Plemons, man. Like, there are reasons to watch this show. Jesse Plemons is an absolute delight.
In everything. Game night, man. He kills me in Game night.
But in this, he's great, and he riffs on that. Like, he's got a type, and he can play it. He does a little bit of that here, but it's great. It's still good.
Cool.
Worth a watch.
Nice.
In fact, I would say you don't even need to finish Breaking Bad. If you want to watch this thing, just watch it. You know everything about the show that this gets into anyways. Really.
I'm sure I can infer everything from what's talked about.
It stands on its own, all right.
Coming from somebody who knows everything about Breaking Bad, I'm sure it does.
It's my turn to choose now, isn't it?
Pick it like my nose.
I'm going to go back because I've heard about this and feel like I should know more about it. Southland Tales?
Sure, Southland Tales, good times. That's that's a weird movie. That is just straight up a weird movie that plays with time and location in some really interesting ways.
Is it a Lynch? It's
not. No. Southland Tales is by
it's somebody Lynchian.
Richard Kelly, who did Donnie Darko.
That's it, right?
This was his follow-up. Now you gotta so recognize that this cast is unreal. You've got Dwayne Johnson before, like early, and this is probably his best role, honestly.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
I almost asked you that, and I was like, no, that's a different movie.
Nope, it's this one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's him and
does this have cops in it?
Sarah Michelle. Yep, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Sean William Scott. Nora Dunn pops up. There are just a mess. Janine Garofalo is in it. Christopher Lambert.
Oh, what?
Yeah, he shows up. So there's.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So the movie is like
does
this.
Christopher Lambert still audition for things, or does he just wait for people to ask?
No, he's offer only. He's offer only.
Yeah, he just waits, right?
So the movie is a flick that kind of it bounces around because the main character is an actor that has amnesia, and he's trying to meet up with, I can't remember if it's his girlfriend that's trying to get something off, like a TV show off the ground. And they're about to hit this massive heat wave. And this is future LA. So like there are turret guns on the beach, and there are, armed guards. It's like like this pseudo weird futuristic thing.
Escape from LA. Go on.
Yeah, it actually, you're not all that far off, but it's not bad.
Escape from LA is not bad. I understand.
Yeah, and but it also has the terrible CGI green screen surfing scene.
I was going to say, does Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson surf out of the city at least?
He absolutely does. Yeah, okay. No, this movie,
he surfs El Nino out of the city. Am I remembering that correctly?
I don't. He does surf a massive wave, but I don't remember if it's El Nino.
Is it water? I feel like it was air. There was like El Nino's involved somehow.
No. So there's it's definitely, he surfs water because it is he meets Peter Fonda, the old surfer dude,
right?
And Peter Fonda's wearing the full on. He's got his full wetsuit on. He tells him because there's a flood in this one area. It's like,
sorry. Southland Tales.
Yeah, no. If you like Donnie Darko, you'll like this movie. It is It is very unconventional in everything, and how it looks, and how it in the story it's telling, the way it's told, the actors and stuff. It also does have legitimately one of the best musical breaks. Just happens. Timberlake is in the movie, and Timberlake has this moment where he was playing a soldier, and there's that Killer song that goes, "I got soul, but I'm not a soldier."
Unfamiliar.
There is a whole bit with that song, and it's freaking amazing. It's like this. It's like if it were a joke, it's pre SNL Timberlake, but you totally see where somebody was like, "Oh man, we know he can do this.
Come on down to Southlandville.
Come on down to Southland Tales." Yeah, exactly.
Southland Talesville.
Absolutely worth watching if you can get if you get a chance to watch that. Totally check it out. It's super goofy and
I remember it's a few years old now at this point, right?
Yeah.
I remember seeing something about it and being like, "Whoa, yeah, okay." And then who knows what happened.
I think you'll see what a lot of people did not, because a lot of people, they were expecting Donnie Darko.
Oh, I bet. Like, how do you sell that thing already? I can think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you sell Donnie Darko too? Like, that's par for the course.
Exactly.
About,
and it's really similar. It's like, you go into Donnie Darko and then you expect that again, and you don't get that.
All right. What's next on my list?
Do you want to keep going on this, or do we want to wrap up?
I know time.
No, we're good.
I think we've been going for an hour, but honestly, we're back, and I've got nowhere to be.
Yeah,
so
I've got time. I've got some time. We're good. Okay,
I'm happy to hang out.
All right, let me. I want to hear about. This is one that I have not been able to catch in the theater, and we just every time we go to try and see it, it's just the timing is wrong. But I do love me some Deacons. So tell me of 1917.
All right. Well, that's one gimme I can just cross off the list here. 1917, man. This is one of the weird times where the first thing I heard about this movie was in one of the Newsy segments with Maria Menounos. Because
awful.
My theater sucks, remember? Yeah. And they were talking about how it was a quick interview with the filmmakers, and they were like, "Yeah, we wanted to do all one shot because," and then I don't remember what they said because I just clued in on like, "Oh, they want a filmmake for this movie," so I was into it. Somebody has a vision. It was immediately what was communicated to me, and it was a war movie, which me and you have talked about how those. It's kind of the least attractive premise for us for whatever reason.
Well, I think for me it's universally the same story. There are so few war movies that are not ultimately at the end of the day it's the same story. Like they're all
there are fewer stories.
Yeah, and
that can be told.
And I get that in so many of these cases, it's 1917 and Dunkirk. We're retelling some fantastic thing that happened, and we're trying to show you. It's like okay.
Funny example, because Dunkirk, I would say, would be one of the ones you watch to rid yourself of that.
Fair.
Yeah, Dunkirk's a crazy one. For filmmaking, I should say.
Sure.
because it's not like you're not going to watch that at any point and be like, this is crazy. It's just so like it's Nolan being it is Nolaniest maybe.
Wait, who directed 1917?
Mendes, I think. Was his last name?
Sam Mendes. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I didn't know him by name right off the bat, even though I think I knew. I looked up what he did previous, and I was familiar.
If I remember correctly, he did Road to Perdition. That's the one.
Road to Perdition.
Yeah.
That was a good movie too.
I like that one. Yeah, and he did Skyfall.
Skyfall. That's right. That's the one.
American Beauty was his big one. That was what it was.
Oh boy, is that where he came in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Thoughts on American Beauty?
American Beauty, Road to Perdition, Jarhead, Revolutionary Road, Away We Go.
Ooh, Revolutionary Road.
No.
That's a movie. No, you didn't like that?
Nope.
I mean, I don't know how you like
that movie.
I guess, and it's been a while, but I just remember being destroyed in a way after that movie that I had not been.
Oh man, I was bored to hell. It was so dull.
Okay. 1917.
Yeah.
I can't imagine you would be bored to hell. 1917. There are movies, and speaking of the one-shot thing, where you might hear about some of the filmmaking about it and see it and be like, man, how did they do that? But in the back of your head, you know the answer is computers.
Right.
So this movie, I'm thinking, how did they do that? I'm like, well, computers. But no, how did they do that? This movie is everything, is how my wife put it. It's hard not to get hyperbolic about this thing. It's just, by the end of that movie, the story it tells, the way it tells it, and how it looks. It's Deakins. It looks fantastic. There are moments where the sound and the imagery come together like nothing. It's so freaking good. You had a question for me when I did see it, if it got heavy-handed at any point. It's a war movie.
Right.
Like somebody's going to come out and give that criticism, and on the one hand, war is heavy-handed, and World War I, maybe the most heavy-handed of all wars, you could say.
Some people do.
There is a bit where it slows down and a child is involved. Ugh. If you're going to have an issue with heavy-handedness, it's probably going to be at that moment.
Children are the worst.
I don't think it takes away from the film. I don't think it makes it any less worth seeing. It is a next step. Like, that movie is so good and such an experience. I really did like it.
Yeah, I don't know that we're ever going to get to see it in the theater, which is probably going to make that like a significant. Like, I have a feeling this is going to be one of those movies where we'll see it at home and it'll just won't be the like that.
It wouldn't be as good.
It's just it's just going to be one of those movies.
And I never say that. Yeah,
some movies do that. It's just there's the spectacle to them, and when you miss out on the spectacle. But you know what? Maybe I'll do it I'll throw it up on my on the projector.
Yeah, get it as big as you can. That's a big movie.
I could do that on the projector, and I've got the little speaker system.
I mean, I'm gonna watch it on my TV a zillion times, but still, there's so much there.
Nice.
Yeah, I should read up on what the criticism is of that movie, because I'm having a hard time being objective, probably.
All I can say is it was good, but not best picture good.
Yeah, I've my mom was sending me texts on the Oscars, and I realized halfway through her telling me about what 1917 was and was not winning that we usually download the show after the fact, and so we can skip the commercials and all that. So,
oh, you don't know what won best picture?
I think I do, because you mentioned it or you texted me about it, but I've forgotten again. So,
well,
the mind is a wonderful thing.
I didn't know you did that. I don't think we've ever had that conversation ever.
No, about the Oscars.
Yeah.
You think we would have at some point, right? Yeah.
Didn't know. Now I know never to talk to you about them.
I enjoy the entertainment value of the show, especially depending on who's hosting.
Yeah.
Knowing who wins what is kind of
I mean, I don't care. It's fun to see.
Yeah,
it's fun to see, but it's like, it's your opinions mean nothing to me.
I skip more than that's why I like to download it. No commercials. I can skip when it.
That's fair.
Who died in memoriam? Yeah, great.
Yeah, that they missed out a bunch of people on too.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Figures.
Always.
I wonder how they did for what was the year everybody died? Was it 2016?
Oh yeah, well, like whatever.
Who had to make that video? Yeah.
that the person sitting there making the video when they're like they have to do Bowie.
This movie's 25 minutes of Bowie and Prince. Do you got anything else?
No.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Do you need any? I mean, come on. They died, and who cares? Nothing else matters now.
Okay. You want me to keep going? I still want to hear.
Sure. Hit me with
All
your
right.
best shot, man.
Come on. You've already talked about Ready or Not on the show, and I might watch that soon, so we could have that conversation later.
Oh, man, you totally should. You should watch that one. And I really, that's one that I think.
Is that growing on you? Because you weren't like super up on it when you watched it in the
I
theater.
liked it fine. It's more fun than I remembered it being. And part of it actually is that I had the gripe that I had, which I talked about on the show. Knowing what that gripe was, I was very easily able to go, you know what?
Happens all the time.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I think that's one of the main reasons why movies the second time around are always better. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and I think I said this before too. I legitimately think that one might be on the cusp for Evelyn.
Oh, okay.
Because it's
Well, after Logan, I think I raised the bar or lowered it, whatever, I guess.
Yeah, it depends on what you showed in there. But this is overall, there is definitely a couple things that are like, oh, that's gross. But it's not like, we're not talking like George Romero, nothing like that. No, like it's nothing like that. It's
okay. Nothing you saw when you were her age.
Boy, this is actually, you know what? I would say this is actually it's closer to Monster Squad like that. But a little more blood because it's a little blood, but it's closer to Monster Squad.
Well, I accidentally chose Ready or Not, but I'm still going to choose The Hateful Eight.
Oh, yeah.
Never seen it.
Oh, you've never? Oh, okay.
No.
So this was my second watch on this one too. I did not love this one. Also, it's later Tarantino. Just the longer he goes, the less the less I enjoy his movies. That's what I'm finding. They're not as interesting or fun to me or whatever.
I know the answer, but have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I have not yet.
Okay,
I haven't.
It's got DiCaprio in it, so
yeah, we're gonna watch it because I like Brad Pitt. Fine, the story is relatively interesting, but yeah, it's
Hollywood.
It's sitting there.
It's Tarantino on Hollywood. Like if you're gonna watch The Hateful Eight, I feel like
right. So The Hateful Eight is I really liked the movie the second time around, and a lot of what I liked about it is that it is it's a siege movie in so many respects, but it's an internal siege movie. You don't have the people on the outside trying to get in because what's outside is a death blizzard. So you have this group of people that don't know each other, maybe have heard of one another. They don't trust each other. And at least one of them knows something ain't right.
kind of a bottle episode movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
98% of the movie takes place inside of a tiny haberdashery. And it's these 8 people just in that room. And there are so many things in that movie that, like, I like the movie because it ramps up and then it just, like most Tarantino movies, it just gets to a point where it's like, you know what? Reality stopped existing about 20 minutes ago, and now we're just going for it. And there were so many little bits here and there that I didn't pick up on the first time, and that when I go back and I read the Wikipedia, and I was like, oh my gosh, now I got to check that out. That's a really good, solid movie. And and I am a Kurt Russell fanatic, so I always have said that I like him in the movie. He's great, and
Wasn't it like that and Bone Tomahawk like in the same year or something?
So good.
Like
he had the same facial hair. Yeah, and I think he actually did do them the same year. Actually, I think you're right. Yeah, but that movie is great. Every person that's in that movie, every character, and again, there aren't a ton. Every one of them serves their role perfectly. And when it gets whittled down to just the people, and by whittled down, I mean there are it's like 97% in that one room. There are some builds and some like people coming into the opening of the movie is people getting to the haberdashery. And there are some people already there, but the first part of the movie is Kurt Russell taking Daisy Domergue. Kurt Russell's like a bounty hunter, and he's gonna hang her. That's his thing. He meets, he might be a lawman. I don't know. But then he meets on the way to the haberdashery. That's where he meets Samuel L. Jackson's character, who's also a bounty hunter. They go to the haberdashery and there's some people there. So you've got that little bit, but then the rest of it is like right there. It's all in that room. And, you know, you see, you know, it's Tim Roth, Michael Madsen, Bruce Dern.
The usual suspects,
as it were. And it's like, man, they just, every one of them just kills it. And you know, Tim Roth is always one of my favorites. I love that guy, and he's great in the movie. And
did you watch his the GQ video where he goes through all his characters?
Oh, yeah.
I think it was GQ or Vanity Fair or something like that.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Really great story about him and Terrence Stamp in that one. We might have talked about this on the show actually already.
We might have.
Okay.
God, I hated him so much in Rob Roy. So much.
Yep. I feel like this is exactly where that conversation went to.
That movie is actually super fun. If nothing, it's got that other Tarantino thing though, where it can get a little long in the tooth. But this movie kind of earns it when you get to the point. There's a tipping point in the movie where you kind of go, okay, is this like, this is going, this is cool. And then it kind of, like I said, it just, there's a tipping point and you go, all right, I don't realize I just watched another hour of this movie because that was real strong. And of course my, the most interesting piece of trivia or tidbit about that movie that most people I think know about now. I love when actors do something ad-libbed or not expected, not necessarily ad-lib, but they did something wrong, and the other actors recognize it but don't know what to do, but they kind of try and stay in character. That happens in this movie, and it's left in the movie. And look it up. Martin Guitars used to lend guitars to movies, and they won't do it anymore because of this movie. They had a guitar that was from that exact era. It was like 100 years old, priceless. And in this one scene, like Daisy's plucking along on it, and Kurt Russell takes it, smashes it. And they have, you know, of course, they've got a stunt guitar. Didn't grab the stunt guitar. Kurt Russell smashed a 100-plus-year-old guitar. And in the scene, I can't remember what her name is off the top of my head, but the woman who plays Daisy Domergue, she, like, you can see her go, no! And she had the right reaction, and that's why they kept it. But you can see her, like, she stops, and you see her look off screen, like, looking at probably Tarantino going,
I'm going to look up just this scene now.
Oh, yeah, no, you should. It's up there. You can find it easily. And he just, it's great. It's one of those moments, too. But now, like, Martin Guitar is like, yeah, no, Hollywood. You ruined that one.
Wow, that hurts just hearing about it.
Oh, it was painful to watch.
Jeez.
Great scene, though.
All right. I feel like it's a game of chicken at this point. Who's going to stop first?
Who's going to stop first?
You want another one from me?
Yeah, I'll take one more.
All right.
I got this one, too. I'm ready for it.
Okay.
I have no knowledge, actually, about this story. So I'm kind of excited about hearing it. It was Ford versus Ferrari.
Ford v. Ferrari.
Ford v. Ferrari.
You know who made that movie?
Christian Bale.
I watched 2 movies from this guy over the 2 months we've been out. One of them was Logan.
Oh, James Mangold.
Yeah. And I think he did the Wolverine also, right?
I think he did too, yeah.
Yeah. So 3.
Yeah.
Ford v. Ferrari is so darn American, that movie. Or Americana. Maybe I don't know which. But it's just Matt Damon being a cowboy, Christian Bale being whatever the English version of a cowboy is.
A knight.
And yeah, possibly actually. And it's just a great tale. It's as gorgeous as you think a Mangold movie would be at this point. It's such a fun story too.
I don't know what the story is.
It's about Henry Ford II, who's
versus Jeffrey Ferrari.
Yeah, the third. It might have been Enzo Ferrari. I don't know. Mr. Ferrari. Ferrari's in a bad spot. He needs to sell. And Ford is at a spot where they're seeing, I don't know if it's sales or mindshare flagging, in that They don't win any races. They haven't really maybe even delved into the market that much. And I think it's Lee Iacocca pitches this track where Ford gets really into racing, and they make that a public image that people can latch on to, like it's hot, Ford wins races. And apparently at this point nobody had ever beat Ferrari, or very few people, at Le Mans, I guess.
Sure.
Does that ring a bell?
It's a real place, yeah.
Okay.
It's a real race.
And it's a race through the city or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So he pitches that, and part of what the solution they come up with is to buy Ferrari because they're at a low point. So they go over there, they make it a pitch, and Ferrari basically, I haven't done the thing that I do, which is look up how true all of this is after the fact. But in the movie, they go to Ferrari, and he puts them through this rigmarole, and it ends up, he basically just hands it to them. He says their cars are crappy, their company's crappy, Henry Ford is crappy. And that sends Henry Ford on a tear where he's like, okay, we're going to do everything to beat this guy. So they hire Matt Damon's character. It's been a couple weeks here, so I couldn't.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Ken Miles is the name of.
I'm not going to know any of these people.
Shelby. Duh. It's freaking, the Shelby Cobra
the Ford
guy.
Shelby,
yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Yes, Shelby. It's Shelby, and he brings in Ken Miles, and they're given the task of making a car that can beat Ferrari. And I don't think I need to spoil any more of the story. And it's fairly predictable.
I'm guessing you can't because it's real.
Also, okay. That much they probably didn't mess with. They build a car that does very well. And you get to see Christian Bale and Matt Damon do their thing for a solid 2 hours in a way that's very enjoyable and pretty.
I like both of them, so I'm good with it.
You're not going to be surprised necessarily by anything you see, but it's super fun. It's a great ride.
Sure.
You could say.
What was the last movie you saw in the theater? Like how recently?
Probably 1917, I think. Oh, no, Jojo Rabbit.
Did you see the trailer for the Ben Affleck movie, The Way Back?
No.
Okay. So anytime a movie that involves sports comes up, we've seen it.
I did. Yeah, I totally did.
The basketball movie?
He's a drunk coach.
Yes.
Guy.
So
yes.
We're sitting there and this trailer comes on and it's about 12 seconds into it. And I look over at Beth and I'm like, it's a sports movie. I know how it ends. And I'll definitely watch it.
Oh yeah, no, you've seen the whole movie. That's a trailer that shows you the whole movie in the trailer.
And you know what? Don't care. Gonna watch it.
No, yeah, because you've seen the movie a bunch already, anyway.
I have a million different times, told a billion different ways, and I can't wait to watch it. And I actually like these movies. Like I know, I enjoy seeing how are you gonna tell me the story around it? What's the nonsense story you're gonna give me? Because you can't change the ending to this, but you can muck with everything in between it.
They lose. He didn't recover. Still drinking to this day.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know that Ford v Ferrari is necessarily that. It's just, it's a biopic type thing. You do know the ending. It's based on history. I guess maybe that's what I'm saying, but it is a ton of fun. Like the music that they choose makes a lot of it. And it's used at the perfect times. And there are a lot of moments where you don't know if they happened in real life, but they're pretty darn cool in the movie. Like there is some give and take between the higher ups to the point where Shelby can't use Ken Miles, even though we know that that's the team that will get it done. And if they can't get it done. So Henry Ford II shows up on property, and Ben Affleck locks Josh Lucas, who's kind of the bad executive, in an office, and runs out and puts Ford in the car and then like takes him through the track, and Ford just like goes to pieces. Like he's in tears by the end because he's like, just from the G-forces alone or something. It's a fantastic moment. Like those are the things that really make the movie.
Sure.
Not the story necessarily, but so it's way worth watching.
Yeah, that's one I'll probably check out. I mean, it's fun, whatever. I don't know anything about racing, so
it portrays that really cool too. Like it's Fast and Furious levels of good car cinematography.
Well, I'll say, I mean, that they did that really well with Rush as well. I thought the cinematography Ron Howard did for Rush was really good.
Oh, that's right. And freaking Thor, right?
Yep. And Thor and Baron Zemo.
Oh, well. Okay.
It's true.
Oh, I choose the next one. That's right.
You do. Also
Again,
true.
these always wind down in the most satisfying way.
We're
I
doing
want to
one
hear about
more.
another one.
We're doing
I
one
know
more.
zero about.
One more.
Okay, one more?
Yeah.
All right, okay. Can you guess the other one I have never heard of before in my life?
I don't know, actually.
Warren Ellis captured by ghosts.
Oh, it's a documentary on Warren Ellis. That's all. It's just like that Chris Claremont documentary.
Who's Warren Ellis?
Oh man, look! Oh, dude,
Yeah, I know, I
Google
should know, I
freaking
should know.
Warren Ellis. Warren Ellis is a comic book guy he's been writing books forever. He did. He's one of his best, most loved books is one of the sets of Punisher books.
Armory.
But he did. Yeah, he did Transmetropolitan. He did Hellblazer. He's worked on a ton of stuff. And he is a super interesting writer. He actually wrote the Iron Man story that Iron Man 3 was based off of. The story was good.
Oh.
Yeah, he wrote the Extremis story. That was him.
Oh, no joke. Extremis is good. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's him. Yeah, and
I've read that book.
His name is all over comic books. Like, I mean, you go and you'll find just things about him all over the place. I mean, the guy did Moon Knight. He did the best Moon Knight stories ever. And when they bring out the Moon Knight show on Disney Plus, either this year or next, whatever it is.
Oh man, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, if they're using his Moon Knight, it's going to be crazy. Like, that's great. He wrote some issues of Captain Marvel. He did.
Is this another Hulu doc?
Where did I watch it? No, it was on Amazon.
Amazon. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's cool. It's just like the other one. This one has more, some more bigger people talking in it than the Claremont one does. This has more interviews outside of that. Like Patton Oswalt shows up, but it's super great. And if you are interested in, like I said, go look at his catalog, because there's lots of stuff in there that you may go, what? I didn't know he wrote that. I mean, and if you
what's the Captured by Ghosts? What is that referring to?
It's a story, I think. I don't remember why it was called that. This is one that I watched like 2 months ago.
Oh, okay, cool.
I don't remember why it was called that.
I knew I would choose those ones.
I want to say it was
That's
maybe
fine.
a Transmetropolitan thing.
I'll check it out. I'll check it out the same day as probably the Chris Claremont one.
They're both really good and they're super interesting. Oh yeah, I forgot. He also wrote Dead Space, the game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
I love Dead Space.
It's a really good one. He's written movies and stuff too. He's also he's like a transhumanist guy. Well, I mean, he did Transmetropolitan. If you don't know Transmetropolitan, you don't know Spider Jerusalem, you are legitimately just missing out on one of the best comic books that has ever existed. It's like that.
Never heard of him.
Transmetropolitan is up there with Watchmen. Like, it is that good.
Okay.
So yeah,
sold.
Warren Ellis, man,
and a half.
Check it out.
What would your last pick for me be, or was my last one the last one?
No, I want to do one more before we do the last one. Yeah.
Well, not the last one. We still got our gimmies, but
yeah, the gimmies, right?
This is your last chance to hear about any of these fantastic movies.
Yeah. So I am very curious. I have this has just been sitting in my queue forever now, it seems like, and I know what the story is. I've heard it's good, but I want to know what you think about it. Tell me about The Big Sick.
Oh, good. The Big Sick is fantastic. It's the Kumail Nanjiani movie that he made about his actual relationship with his wife and how they met and what happened to her.
Emily Gordon.
Yes, is that her real name?
Yes.
I don't think I ever got her last name in the movie. It was just Emily.
It is Gordon.
Now it's Nanjiani, so...
No, it's still
Actually,
Gordon.
I don't know if she did. Did she? Okay. Yeah, never mind.
I mean, at least that's her stage name. She might be... I don't know.
The movie's really good, man. It's a romance, for lack of a better word. It's based on his life. He was an up-and-coming comic in... Shoot. Okay, I forget where they were based, but it's before he moved to New York. and he had a one-man show even that he was doing here and there. In the movie, his friends are played by Bo Burnham and Adie Bryant. Is that her name from SNL?
Yeah.
And they're fantastic. I really like Adie Bryant, and some of this is purposeful because it's meant to lay bare the scene at the time. Some of Adie Bryant's material isn't. Some of the jokes don't land from her.
Yeah.
Is all. Bo Burnham is Bo Burnham, meaning that they do land because he's always
Bo
himself.
Burnham.
And but that's not even the best part of the movie. That's all kind of just window dressing, which it isn't because it's done really well.
Yeah.
But the thing that really hits is the relationship. And by the end, I'm wondering why I don't watch more, romances or romantic comedies. And then by the end, I'm thinking maybe it's because this is how they affect me, because this will absolutely affect you. Like, you just
did you cry?
Get so into both of them. Did I cry?
Do you cry ever?
I don't know if I did. No, I do. Yeah, no, all the time. In fact, if you want to hang around for a couple minutes.
Wow.
No.
I cry all the time.
I cried after the 0 hit points. No, just kidding. This is what we did after 0 hit points.
I see the single tear.
This is me crying.
You're getting it tattooed.
The Big Sick does a really good job of telling that story, and I love the way it ends, and I feel for the characters, and I laughed out loud numerous times. Also, there's a moment where because it also race figures in very prominently.
Right.
He's Pakistani, and his family's very traditional, tries to set him up with a couple arranged marriages, but he ends up with Emily, who he kind of breaks her heart because he's not forthcoming, or he doesn't tell her about his family, and she, upon learning, says, "Is there any version where we're still together?" And he says no, straight up. So he's basically been with her the whole time, knowing that it could never work and not telling her. So it's heartbreaking, etc. But then she goes into a coma, and that's where the movie really takes off. Weird thing to say.
Do they use the song "Girlfriend in a Coma"?
I don't know that song well enough.
They really should.
Agree. Probably.
I can't remember if that's just Morrissey or if it's a Smiths song.
Oh, second least surprising thing you've ever said.
Oh, you don't know the song. You'll know it when you hear it, I bet.
I could have guessed it was Morrissey or the Smiths, though. So he gets in arguments with his families, and one of the arguments is at a table with his brother, and it gets heated for like a second. I think he's telling his brother about Emily finally or something, and they start to raise their voices, and people start to look at them, and Kumail just kind of looks at him real quick and is like trying to get his brother to calm down, and looks at the table next to them that's starting to look at them, and just says, "We hate terrorists." And then they go. I couldn't do it justice. The timing is perfect throughout the movie, and that's maybe the best example, but it's such a small thing that lasts for 1 second, and I've lost it. It's a really good movie. That was one of my gimmies. I wanted to make sure I talked about it. It's very good.
Nice. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, do.
Yeah.
So I get the feeling I know what our last gimmies are. Do you have a gimme besides that one?
Did we talk about Joker?
We didn't, actually. Okay. Technically we did many times, but not. So you had seen it and you were waiting to talk about it because I was going to go see it.
Right.
I looked it up, and I have some lines that I'll draw, and I drew one at that movie, unfortunately. So I have not seen it and probably won't. Yeah, it's dumb. We can talk about that maybe sometime, but
I don't care.
Yeah.
I've
listened to podcasts on it. I've seen some Joaquin Phoenix interviews. So please get it all out.
I think the number one thing here, and this actually, man,
especially after it's now making the rounds at the freaking award shows. Like,
yeah, he's winning
all the way.
He's winning everything. The movie itself is winning hardly anything. The only things that are actually winning for it are him and the soundtrack, the score.
Oh,
yeah, the score is great.
Musicality is a thing in that movie, like I wasn't expecting it to be.
Huge. So I think one of the big things that bugs me about not the movie itself, but about everything around it, is that this is one of those movies where everybody seemed to want it to fail. Like, nobody seemed to want this movie to succeed.
Right.
And everybody, I like I do not see hardly anybody that I was familiar with through Twitter, any social media, that was like, Joaquin Phoenix was real good in that. Everybody was like, it was all right. It's not great. The movie is basically just a Scorsese movie stolen. Okay. No, that's just like, that's so reductive of everything in this movie. I have no problem saying Todd Phillips made a really pretty movie. That's a beautiful film. Joaquin Phoenix, that freaking act, that performance is out of this world. He deserves every ounce of love and all the awards he's getting. There is like every single
even
movie,
if he doesn't think so.
Yeah,
or gets tired of it.
Yeah, every single movie I've seen this year, I easily name anything that came out that's Oscar worthy, that's top tier, that people loved. I will put that performance up against the best one you can give me, and I don't think you're going to beat it. I truly think he was that good. Now, getting to things like the script, not perfect by any means. There's a lot of stuff in there that probably wouldn't have worked at all had it not been for Phoenix. The cinematography for it, utterly amazing. Beautiful. The colors they chose, fantastic, because it's not they're like, the whole movie has got this really muted feel to it, and it does kind of slowly get a little brighter here and there, but it's brighter in that still muted tone. And I don't know if that makes sense, but it's really fascinating.
Sounds like you've watched that YouTube video from the cinematographer.
I did not, but now I want to. No, I did. I know.
You sent it to me. You better have watched it.
I watch a lot of things. I don't remember anything about that video. I do remember sending it to you though, because now that you mentioned it, most of the people around him, totally fine. Zazie Beetz, not used quite as much as I was hoping, but
Zaz is in this movie.
Yeah, Victor Zazie Beetz. She plays Domino in this movie as well.
Shave her head, have all the tattoos, the knife.
Yeah, just cuts herself up. That was one of the things in Birds of Prey I did not like though.
That's right. Zaz is in Birds of Prey, isn't he?
He's great. The guy playing it, like the character, totally fine. The look I hated. I hated the look completely.
Zaz from Gotham would be your recommendation at this point.
He doesn't even really look like the comic book character. He doesn't play like the comic book character at all. But geez, I love that guy. But Joker is an interesting take, and I understand, like this also seems to be a thing for people. They don't get that this can be a standalone movie. Everybody seems to be going, well, how is Batman going to fit into this? How is that going to work? Because Joaquin Phoenix is this old. And so here's your spoiler alert. Here's another one. Going to give you the spoiler. Here's your time for the spoiler. You're done now. So the movie ultimately kind of goes through this whole thing where there's an unreliable narrator portion to this, right? Because he's the Joker. He's not the Joker at the beginning of the movie, but maybe he is. Maybe this is all a flashback.
But he is the narrator also?
For the most part, yeah. And we get into this thing where he is, but he's also not. And you find this in that there are things that happen in the movie that very clearly do not happen, but you don't necessarily know that until much further on. Like I did
hear some of this.
He's definitely got, like, there are definitely, like, mental issues there. He's got something that he's seeing things, and there's
a person that may or may not exist. Right?
Zazie Beetz. She doesn't exist at all. Like, that's the whole thing. But she also fills in a portion of his psyche where he kind of goes along where nobody likes him, nobody appreciates him, nobody wants to be near him. But he also never really seems to put in anything to get further. And then she shows up with her kid, and they're a little wry to him at first, but then they warm up. And then, that's not real. And then it becomes a further question of what else wasn't real. And there's a whole mess of things that most of it probably is. But the fact that you have to kind of guess at that puts that more unreliable narrator thing in. But then you also have some scenes that are like, they don't come from him.
Huh.
And so the spoiler alert here is that people whinge about this is the ending of the movie. In the ending of the movie, most people have seen, he goes on the talk show that he's been talking about the entire like the whole movie is him wanting to be famous. The whole movie is him wanting to not even be famous. He just wants to be liked. He wants to make jokes and be funny, and he wants to get on this show, the Murray whatever show. And that's the whole goal of him, for him, is to get there. And as he's getting there, he's finding that he so the laughter thing is a medical condition that he claims to have. That he can't help it. He gets nervous and he laughs. He gets like angry and he laughs, and he just laughs. That's why the laughter comes. But he's painfully unfunny. Like they wrote him to be like painfully unfunny, that he does not. And when you see like there's a couple of shots where he's got a joke book, and it's fantastic because they're quick shots, but I know that if you pause them, some interesting things are in there, but they're written in the way that you would imagine the Joker to kind of write a joke book. Not like before he's like not the like the kooky crazy blah, 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 Joker, right. But like the Joker.
Yeah, it's weird hearing you talk about it. I'm recontextualizing the word Joker, you know, because I automatically think who that character is, but now I'm just thinking about a person who jokes.
Yeah, well, and it's not only are you unliked, you have nothing going for you, but the one thing you're trying to do, being a Joker, you can't do even. You're bad at that. And so the end of the movie gets him onto the show, but it gets him onto the show not for the reasons he wants to be there. But he takes advantage of it. He puts on the makeup, and that's when he comes out and he gets onto the show, and he shoots De Niro right in the face. Just blows him away on TV.
Whoa, De Niro is actually in this movie?
Yeah, multiple.
Wow.
Yeah, he's yeah.
The king of comedy is in this movie also.
Exactly, and that's
kind of crazy.
One of those huge things that people were like, "Well, it's just Scorsese." Again, reductive. There is again zero question about where a lot of this came from. There's like he wears
and
that
at the end, if he's shooting him in the face, like
right. But it's
how much more pointed can you get?
Fingers. But he shoots him and the other piece, by the way, throughout this movie, he does interact with Bruce Wayne. He interacts more with Thomas Wayne.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know they were going to put any Waynes in this thing at all.
Yeah. So we get again, keeping in mind the narration here, there's a thread that points that his mother supposedly tells him that that Thomas Wayne had an affair with her because she was a housekeeper, a maid, and that he's actually also a Wayne. And he tries to get Thomas to understand that, and Thomas does that's a bunch of nonsense. So we get to the point where we're now the reasoning for him being on the show that ends up killing Murray is shown on the Murray show previously, where it's like him failing at some, and at this point I don't remember because I watched it in the theater, and then this again was like, it was a little bit ago, but so people have seen who he is and what he does. He kills Murray, people freak out, he gets arrested, but in the process of being arrested, he gets knocked out, and he essentially gets raised up by people outside who have now started a riot because madness reigns, what have you. There's multiple reasons behind it, but the end of the movie is one of his new followers, and he's not talking to any of these people. He still does not recognize what's going on. Like, he kind of sees like people are lifting him up, but he's not doing anything.
He's not the Jack Nicholson Joker.
No, but at the end, as that's happening, one of his followers happens to walk into Crime Alley. Bam, bam. There go the Waynes. Left little Bruce.
Yeah,
people whinge about it because, well, he's so old. How could Batman?
I'm on the border of whinging right now about it.
You know what? Here's again, and this is why people just frustrate me. At the very beginning, Todd Phillips said, this has nothing to do with Batman. It's got nothing to do with DC.
Well, that's why I'm kind of disappointed the Waynes are in it at all. And that they would put some like red herring that he's maybe a son. Like
Again,
I don't know how it's handled because I haven't seen it, but I'm kind of like, why is that in there at all?
No, it probably didn't need to be, but it works in the context of the movie, and it works in the context of the unreliable narrator. Did that ever happen? Did he ever actually talk to Thomas Wayne? Did he ever meet Bruce? Did any of that occur outside of he definitely shot Murray, and that guy and somebody definitely killed the Waynes? I don't think it. I don't. It's my issue with that isn't it's
my issue would be is this, it just sounds like somebody somewhere is like, well, you got to do this. It's got to be tied in somehow. You got because Joaquin Phoenix. I can't imagine he wants to do a sequel to this thing.
No, he's
producer somewhere.
He's already said that. There's they've both said we haven't talked about it. We have no intention of talking about it. There's nothing here for them.
But somebody somewhere wants to do another movie where maybe they continue that character.
Sure.
That's.
But
I feel like that's why that would be in there. But
again, this is like the thing. It's one of those things that I think is a worthless whinge because you're once again like no matter what you do. You can't disassociate the Joker from a comic book. That's fine. You can disassociate the Joker from anything in that world while still maintaining that world, because that's also the Joker. There are hundreds of one-shots, 3-book stories that fill in things like this, that do things like this. I've got a book right now that it's a one shot on Victor Freeze's background where he happened to be the son of an SS officer who didn't really want to do it, but he still ended up killing a bunch of Jews. Did we ever need that? No. Does it fit in the context of that character and in the world? Sure. Doesn't impact him at all.
It disturbingly fits if Mr. Freeze is still Arnold Schwarzenegger too.
See?
I feel like that's the point.
But
he's Austrian, so what about this story?
I think that there is so much focus on making trilogies and sequels and having characters interact that the more I consider what Todd Phillips has said about the movie, the more I appreciate what he did. And that, go ahead, try and make a sequel to it. It's going to fail miserably.
They will, especially after everything this is, all the talk and all the good and bad press this thing has gotten.
There's
going to be something.
This is the epitome, and this is the crux of everything for me with this. If you are familiar with comic books and you are not familiar with the term one-shot, go Google it, because this is the epitome of a one-shot. It doesn't have to connect to anything. That's
so wait,
the thing.
Maybe I'm losing the thread. Are you agreeing with me then about the Wayne stuff?
No, it doesn't matter is what I'm saying, because it's a one shot. It's one story.
You're literally making my argument. Like, I would rather this was more of a one shot.
It is. That's the thing. The people that are whinging about it are whinging because they can't recognize that or they don't want to. Yeah, and yes, there are plenty of other things that you can whinge about, but this particular thing, like, there's so much in this movie that just...
I've completely lost the thread at this point.
What I'm saying is, watch this movie, watch that movie, and just that movie. Stop trying to make it's also a Batman movie. Just because the Waynes are in it.
It sounds like you're talking to the filmmakers and not the whingers, because then, why would the Wayne stuff be in there?
No, again, okay, what I'm saying is, the Wayne stuff is fine. It's okay.
Oh, you're just saying ignore it.
I'm saying ignore everything outside. Stop trying to make another movie. Except that this
so you're
movie,
saying ignore that the Waynes are Batman, or that Bruce Wayne is Batman.
You know what? I think I'm going to stop on this show too.
This podcast has gone exactly as long as you think it has. And I like that most of it, I think, has been about the Joker at this point.
I'm done. I just don't care anymore. You know what? Everybody's right. The movie sucks. I hope Todd Phillips dies in a fire. Everything is bad. This is all stupid. Let's talk about the JoJo movie. Let's talk about the real Nazis here.
We have one gimme left that neither of us have chosen.
It's the JoJo. Let's go. Come on. Stop with this. You're building. JoJo, go. I'm already annoyed. Let's finish. Jojo, great movie, best movie. Scarlett Johansson's best role ever. The little kid's great. Taika Waititi makes a great Hitler. I love that the only time you actually see him be Hitlery is at the very end when he kind of goes off on that Hitler rant to try and bring Jojo back to that side.
And he does a good job.
He does a great job, man. He's great. That kid though, man, that kid was fantastic. But both of them actually, the girl, the young lady in the wall also.
Oh yeah.
She was good.
I love that the show has gone on long enough that you did get annoyed, because it's like we lived long enough to see ourselves become the villain, and it's just this perfect microcosm of what the show is and has been. So I guess just welcome back.
Great. I'm real excited about being like.
And yes, Jojo Rabbit I saw the same week as, so when it got remember the huge story for me about how I got my tickets for the stupid theater, and Jojo Rabbit was at weird times and they kept changing it just to mess with me until finally it was gone and I hated everybody.
Yes.
When it got the nom, it came back.
Smart.
So I'm like, okay, finally. So yeah, it might have been the same day. No, it was the next day, because we went to see 1917 and I was like, oh shoot, JoJo's back. So I got a ticket right then and I saw it the next day. So 2 days I saw 1917 and then Jojo Rabbit.
Those are two great war movies to see back to back.
I mean, World War I and World War II, but still couldn't be more different.
I love the conceptual nature in my head of 1917 and these very serious characters, and then you've got that one little fat kid in Jojo Rabbit that's constantly like trying to be a Hitler Youth, but he's like, whatever. I can't do it anymore, Jojo.
Apples and oranges, but man, did I have a hard time thinking about what movie I liked more.
There's not going to be any argument for me. I know which movie I will like more.
Yeah, okay. I guess and the definition of being up in... Anyways. Jojo Rabbit is a fantastic movie. Everything you said, I agree with. My experience was bizarre for a number of reasons. I saw somebody that I knew in the theater, and she left almost immediately because she didn't need to see that Hitler crap. Paraphrasing, but
yeah, sure. Well,
weird, right?
you realize that the Hitler person is being played by an Aboriginal man,
Aboriginal Jewish,
an Aboriginal Jewish.
Yeah.
I don't think you're missing out on something here. I'm
sure she didn't know. Yes, and I could have had that. I spoke with her, I think, the next day, and yeah, I'm sure we could have had a long conversation about it. But she was like, "Did you like it?" I was like, "Oh, I freaking loved it."
And then you were like, "See you later."
Yep, just you're seek handling right now for those who can't see. Did you say see you later or see you later?
Yep.
Okay, you're nodding your head like choose the better one.
Seek you later.
Don't play it back. Maybe the only thing I can say about Jojo Rabbit, it's not even a criticism, it's more of a tension, is that Taika is so good as Hitler, and you see, I think you see that trailer and you see him in it and you're like, oh, the whole movie is that. The whole movie really isn't that.
It's not at all.
But it's so good that you almost want it to be. And when it's not, you're like, okay, it can't be. You're right. You did the right thing, but still.
You relish those moments, though.
You do.
That's the thing is like, it's the weirdest thing to say is I relish the moments with Hitler.
Right? I think my note here says, you want Hitler in the whole thing, which I almost never say about a movie. But he's so good. And it's pointed. It's not difficult. And I've listened to some shows on this too, and if you haven't ever checked out the only podcast about movies, we exist in the same universe because we're a book club over here, but they had some great things to say about it, and they mentioned an interview with Taika where he mentions it's not a difficult movie, and it's not. Like, that Hitler is a representation of he's that kid's imaginary friend.
Yeah,
that's why he acts like that.
I mean, he's not only a kid's imaginary friend, he's the kid's like quote unquote. It's his literal
inner monologue.
Yeah, it's him being split. It's and it becomes even greater the further he learns about the Jewish girl, and
right.
and I think one of the things that Taika Waititi did so well here was the interactions between Jojo and Hitler, how they slowly ramp up to Hitler being more and more aggressive and more, I don't want to say angry, but he does eventually just finally breaks and he gets angry. But you feel it throughout the movie that he's getting shorter and shorter, not by height, but in terms of patience with
because
JoJo.
the kid is reaching that threshold of cognitive dissonance, for lack of a stupider term, where he's trying to reconcile what he's been taught, what he's being taught currently by just fantastic people. Sam Rockwell and his boyfriend
steals the entire show. Sam Rockwell, every bit.
Rebel Wilson.
Rebel Wilson's
right?
great. Oh, and his friend, by the way, is Richard Madden. No, it's not Richard Madden. It's Alfie Allen, who is the
little kid.
No,
oh my gosh,
no,
that little
Alfie
kid.
Allen is Sam Rockwell's second guy in command. He played Theon Greyjoy in the Game of Thrones show.
Oh, okay. Did not know that.
Yeah,
but still,
pretty funny.
Also, that little kid.
The little kid is the little fat kid, right?
Right.
Yeah, no, the little fat kid is one of the best parts of the movie. Every scene he was in,
Hitler, like this.
He's so lackadaisical about it. Like,
he is.
And
It's fantastic.
I love his little British accent. Like, he's just, what are we gonna do, JoJo? Like, he almost reminds me of if they were ever going to make a live action movie of Danger Mouse, that kid is Penfold. Like,
wow, good pull.
Like Danger Mouse.
Oh, the movie's so good.
And I want to
so good.
I want to talk about this is so weird because this is not somebody I would ever typically want to really point out. For no real reason. She's fine in most everything, but man, Scarlett Johansson in this movie,
totally forgot.
Not only she broke my heart in this movie, man. Like that was such her role is. It's minor in the general respect. She's mom, but she is in every moment she is in, like with that kid, with JoJo, she is so incredible. Like she's perfect. And then
she's the perfect free spirit.
She is. And she is the perfect mother to make him have the moral questions that he's having and going through that cognitive dissonance. Like you absolutely believe that he loves his mother, but you also believe that she knows she has to have him in the Hitler Youth, but is doing her best to keep him.
She's doing what she can.
She's doing what she can.
That's the line, right? Yeah.
And I guess let's get into the spoiler territory. I think this is fine.
Do we want to? I almost don't. I mean,
because we don't have to. I guess that's fine. It is a movie best gone into knowing as little as you can, I think, because
there's a gut punch. Do you want to? You can at least. Did you want to say something about the gut punch without?
That was it.
Okay.
Like that was it, and it was just. It was something that when it happens, like I did not at any point, there was nothing that led up to that in my head. And then thinking back to it, I totally missed the foreshadowing on it. And I was like, I can't believe I missed. I can't, like, this is one of those moments where I'm usually fine if I don't see it. I was actively annoyed with myself that I missed it because of how big of a gut punch that was, man. That was.
I don't know if I ever considered it a possibility, which was part of what makes it great.
That's exactly it. It was like the whole thing is, and I feel like we're being too.
You're right. We've already spoiled it essentially.
We're being oblique about it, or not oblique. So
we couldn't ruin the movie if we tried, honestly. So and we're pretty good at that.
One of the very last scenes of the film is so during the movie we actually are walking through a square with the two of them, and we see feet dangling from a gallows, and that was and it focuses actually up on the shoes. It's focused really heavily on the shoes.
We never. I guess there's a long shot, but you never see her face or anything.
Right.
In fact, it's because we see her shoes at different points throughout the movie, and then it's paid off when we see the shoes hanging. Like he bumps into her feet, and she's been hung for her treasonous whatever's.
Right.
Because she is obviously she's also holding a Jewish girl in her walls, but yeah.
Yeah, like earlier in the movie, they run into the person that's hanging there, and then again that shot, it focuses on the shoes of the person hanging, and then, like you said, the rest of the movie they kind of point to Scarlett Johansson's shoes, and it's one of those things that and the moment it happened,
she dances as she and
it was one of those, just like you said, I didn't think it was possible. Like I just didn't see that, and I don't know why. But it was, and maybe that was.
Yeah, especially you. I feel like you often see things coming that I do not from miles away.
I was just so bummed out by that. Like I got like in the right way. It hit me and again, man, like watching that whole movie with her and her. I don't know, man. There's something more to her in Jojo Rabbit than I've seen in anything else she's done, and. That like I said, she
I mean, I haven't seen a lot of what she's done, and a lot of it's been Marvel movies, so I am in no way doing her justice.
No, and she's like I like her.
This movie does her justice.
I think she's very talented. She's got some great ability, but this movie, like,
she loves Colin Jost. So do I.
Hey, who doesn't? Except for some people like Braun Strowman. The way she talks to Jojo and looks at him and passes on information and tries to, like, she does the mothering thing. It's so good that when that moment happens and Jojo walks into her, like, it was devastating, you know? And then and the kid played Jojo, did a great job there. He, like, had the exact reaction that he needed to have.
Yeah.
Crazy.
He does a great job throughout. It's a fantastic movie. I will leave JoJo with this. I would love to someday see a conversation. In fact, I've never asked you about this movie. Between this and Life is Beautiful, which everybody loved for a long time, and then there was kind of a turn, I feel like. And I feel like there's at least a comparison or a conversation between those. Yeah, that movie and Jojo Rabbit that I would love to hear sometime from somebody.
That would be. I think that'd be a good show. We should do a double back to back on that one.
It'd be a hard show too, man. I don't even know if I trust myself.
I think it'd be a good one.
What was the gimme you forgot?
Okay. So we literally just watched this last night. Just before the Oscars ended, actually, is when, like, we popped it on. We finished the movie, and then I was like looking at the Oscar list, and I went, "Oh, cool!"
A real Oscar contender, you would say.
It even won, maybe more than one Oscar, but it definitely won an Oscar.
Oh, spoiler!
Parasite.
Oh, Parasite! Right, we did forget about that.
Bong Joon-ho.
Yes, Mr. Snowpiercer himself.
Wow.
Are there babies in this one, and do they taste the best?
No. There is. Oh, wow.
It's a hard question to answer. I know. I asked the hard questions.
This movie is wow. Just wow. Man.
Is this the best movie we've talked about? Like, out of all of these movies, is this the top?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Like, Beth and I both, like, kind of turned that movie off, and we both sat there for a second and went, that was freaking good. That was amazing. It's okay. and it is a of course, Korean. You know, you might have figured that out by the director's name.
I've heard of Korea.
Yeah, it's a real place. People live there. It's like an island thing.
Two of them?
Let's not get into that, I don't think.
Okay.
It's not like North and South Carolina.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like
into
North
that.
Yeah. Gosh, there's just nothing to say about it, because this is another movie that I had no clue.
Yeah, I don't know what it's about either, really.
Yeah, don't ever know.
I think there are some womanly issues.
No.
No?
I
could be right, but I just put it wrong.
Whatever you think,
way to put that.
Whatever you think the movie is about, it is likely not.
Okay. Right.
You will figure out what it's about pretty quickly. And the more it goes on, the longer it goes on, there is a creepy factor to it that is undeniable to me. I just can't.
That's the vibe I've been getting from.
It is, and it's not like it's
very far away.
It's not the horror movie, like scary. It's another type of horror. Like, I think Beth doesn't think it's a horror movie. I was
going to say, would you even qualify it as
I would, but I would qualify it as definitely more psychological horror without. It's more psychological horror. Some people might call it a thriller. I don't know.
Is there gore?
Not really. No.
Okay.
No. There is death.
By your definition, that means maybe a little.
No,
I'm correcting for Matt levels of gore here.
This is easily TV levels of gore.
Yeah, let me calibrate a little bit. Does Hellraiser have any gore in it?
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay.
This is like 7 p.m. prime time gore. You get a knife stab, but it's not like the knife stab and then it's like cut across and then there's guts everywhere. It's just this you got to see it. You just have to.
Okay. All right.
This is a movie that figure out how to watch it. It's not, you can't skip this one, period.
Okay.
Like it's that freaking good. And I would actually I'm curious now. I would also recommend to check out The Host if you haven't seen that one.
Oh, I have heard about that.
I don't know.
Often. And it was remade, right?
No.
That I shouldn't watch? No?
Not that I know.
Is that the hair?
No, The Host. Host is a monster movie.
Right, but isn't it like the hair or something?
No.
No?
No,
what am I thinking?
It's a friggin' monster, man.
Okay.
It's in so many ways. His movies very much so dovetail together. You can connect them all because they are all about class and society, and this one is no different. But the way this one comes together, man, you just like, I was glued to it. That doesn't happen a lot. Like there are plenty of movies that I'm into it. This one
You are not glued to. I understand.
This is one that I was so like
dead horse levels of glued.
Correct.
Are there dead horses in it? Wouldn't surprise me at this point.
No, actually,
okay.
No.
You had to think about it though.
Well,
that's telling.
I was trying to think of any animals die in it, and they do not. No animals die.
Oh, I would trust you to know that.
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm going to turn the car first, Matt. I think I'm going to lose this game of chicken.
No, we were both done. I'm way done now. But hey, next week we'll be back with TVVB because we got so much to catch up on.
We do. We'll be back with a TV version of our game of chicken. No, it's volleyball. We got to keep our...
I'm going to give you a little teaser, a little taster here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, do it.
Yeah. Titans.
Ooh. Titans. We talked about that last time.
Yeah, more Titans. Oh, here's another
whispering something. I don't know if it's
The Walking Dead.
Oh, no, don't. Okay, you're just naming shows from the last time we did this.
You know what? DC Legends.
So welcome back to you.
Welcome
to anybody
back.
listening to this. Thanks for hanging out, especially if you hung out this long. All our shows aren't usually this long. We keep it to an hour, really. This week we're just, we're feeling randy. We're back. We're making up for lost time.
Everything you're saying right now, I want you to know that I'm about to Maury Povich you because we sent this off and the results say you are a liar.
I'm the father?
Of
all lies?
Father of all lies? Are you the devil?
Am I the devil? Come back next week and find out. It's me or Matt. Those are your only two choices. On Book Club for Movies. Podcast at bookclubformovies.com. Twitter, Facebook, all that.
That sounds right.
Now goodbye.